All right, how's it going, folks? The Haunted Legion here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a little trip, a digital road trip if you will, to a place they call Almost Heaven, West Virginia. Rolling mountains, deep forests, a frankly staggering number of ghosts. Every corner has a story, a whisper that won't stay buried. Why not dive headfirst into the weirdness? We're going to be exploring the top 3 scariest, most undeniably haunted locations in the entire state. Now I know what you're thinking. Are you sure about this? And the answer is, mostly. From hundreds, thousands, investigators shaken. Is it truly haunted? With this much documented misery, it's hard not to believe. All right, moving on from the horrors of institutionalization, our next stop is something that should be a place of joy and laughter, but it's not. Not anymore. We're heading to Mercer County, to the site of the Lake Shawnee Amusement Park. Now, an abandoned amusement park is already inherently creepy. The rusted metal, the peeling paint on a carousel horse, the silence where there should be screams of delight. It's a perfect setup for a horror movie. But Lake Shawnee, it has a history that makes it so much worse. Before a single ride was ever built, the land itself was already soaked in blood. In the late 1700s, this area was the site of a violent clash between a settling European family, the Clays, and the local Native American tribe. Several of his children were brutally killed. In a fit of grief and rage, Mitchell Clay then retaliated, hunting down and killing several of the Native Americans responsible. It was a cycle of violence and tragedy, a brutal chapter of frontier life. This bloody history led many to believe that the land was cursed long before the first ticket was ever sold. Fast forward to the 1920s. A man named Conley T. Snidow buys the land and decides, for reasons I can't quite fathom, that this is the perfect spot for an amusement park. He builds a Ferris wheel, a spinning swing ride, a swimming hole, and all the trappings of a classic 20th century funfair. For a time it was a popular spot for local families, but the land's dark past seemed determined to repeat itself. Tragedy struck the park with alarming frequency. The 2 most infamous incidents involved the death of 2 young children. In one case, a little girl in a pretty pink dress was on the circle swing ride. A delivery truck backing up didn't see the ride in motion and collided with it, killing the girl instantly. A vibrant, happy day turned into a nightmare in a split second. In another horrific accident, a young boy drowned in the park's swimming pool, which was created by damming a section of the lake. It's unclear exactly what happened, but he went under and never came back up. After a total of 6 deaths were recorded on the property, the park was finally abandoned in 1966. And for decades, it just sat there, rotting. The rides were consumed by nature, with vines and trees growing through the metal skeletons of the Ferris wheel and swings. So, of course, people started reporting strange things. The most common sightings are of the 2 children who died there. Visitors to the abandoned park have reported seeing the ghost of a little girl in a pink, sometimes blood-stained dress, swinging on the rusted swing set. They hear her laughter echoing through the silent woods. Similarly, people near the old swimming area report feeling an inexplicable sadness. Some have even claimed to feel the ghostly sensation of a small, wet hand grabbing their ankle. as if a child is pulling them down from below the surface. They've found ancient burial grounds on the property containing the remains of over a dozen individuals, mostly children. Paranormal teams have captured EVPs, children's voices saying "help me," photos with strange mists and orbs near the Ferris wheel, equipment malfunctioning, batteries draining inexplicably. The current owner offers guided tours. Whether it's a curse or just a string of horrific coincidences, the result is the same. A place where joy died and something else took its place. For our final stop, we're going from a place where people were sent to be healed to a place where they were sent to be punished. And punished they were. We're heading to Moundsville, to the imposing castle-like structure of the West Virginia Penitentiary. This place looks like a medieval fortress of doom, and honestly, its history isn't much cheerier. It operated for over 100 years, from 1876 to 1995, and in that time, it earned a reputation as one of the most violent penal institutions in the entire country. The cells were tiny, just 5 by 7 foot concrete boxes, which is smaller than a lot of walk-in closets. In the later years, 3 men were often crammed into a single one of these cells. This extreme overcrowding, combined with a lack of sanitation and the general despair of prison life, created an environment that was a powder keg of violence just waiting to explode. And explode it did. Riots, murders, violent attacks. It's estimated that nearly 100 men were executed within these walls. Later, the state switched to the electric chair, nicknamed Old Sparky, which claimed the lives of 9 more men. But the official executions are only part of the story. It's the inmate-on-inmate violence that truly defined the prison's bloody legacy. Hundreds of men were murdered by their fellow prisoners, stabbed, beaten, or worse. One of the most notorious areas was a recreation room known as the Sugar Shack, where all sorts of unsanctioned and often deadly activities took place away from the guards' eyes. Today, it's considered a hotbed of paranormal activity. One of the most frequently reported phenomena is the Shadow Man. This is a dark, human-shaped figure that is seen lurking throughout the prison, particularly in the lower levels and near the area known as the North Hall. Visitors and tour guides have reported seeing it glide silently down corridors, only to vanish when approached. It's described as being incredibly tall and menacing. Then there are the specific spirits. One of the most talked about is the ghost of R.D. Wall, an inmate who was murdered in the prison's psychiatric ward in the 1920s. People who venture into that area often report feeling watched, hearing strange noises, and some have even claimed to see the apparition of a man in a maintenance uniform. The chapel is another hotspot. Inside the prison chapel, visitors have reported stained glass windows shaking for no reason, hearing disembodied voices singing or chanting, and feeling an intense, heavy sadness. The electric chair, Old Sparky, is a focal point of paranormal claims. People who get near it report feeling dizzy, nauseous, or suddenly overwhelmed with dread. EVPs have captured voices swearing, threatening, or crying for help. Thermal cameras have picked up cold spots and human-shaped figures in empty cells. Even when the building is empty, people hear cell doors slamming shut, the jingle of keys, the faint murmur of conversations, and the desperate cries and screams of men long dead. The prison stands today as a museum and tourist attraction, a tomb where the inmates may never truly be free. The West Virginia Penitentiary isn't just a building. It's a place where the line between the past and the present feels incredibly thin. And there you have it, an asylum, an amusement park, a penitentiary, 3 places in West Virginia steeped in tragedy and crawling with ghosts. Some stories don't end when the life does. The history is heavy, saturated with pain and sorrow. These buildings and grounds are like scars on the landscape. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a paranormal experience? Seen something you couldn't explain? Felt a presence that made the hair on your arm stand up? Head down to the comments and share your scariest encounters. Let's turn the comments into a digital campfire for ghost stories. If you enjoyed diving into the darkness, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. I'll be reading through them, probably with all the lights on. Until next time, stay safe, maybe sleep with a nightlight on. You never know what's lingering in the dark.